Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Dr. John Michael Salvato, your organic living and peak performance coach. And this is Mindshift Mastery, our 200-day journey, taking us every single day through another mind shift, another small change you can make in the way that you think and the way that you operate that leads you toward cultivating a life that's richer, fuller, a life that's based on primary greatness. And so we're thrilled to have everybody with us, Diana, Anita, and Tommy. And Jennifer is on a route back to Missouri today from Philadelphia, her hometown, where she got to spend some enviable time having incredible stuff like real Philadelphia pretzels and Italian water ice and all of that. So I'm sure they're not going to let her stop the bus to go drop some off here in Harrisburg. Having said that, good segue into why I'm dressed like such a slob today. I apologize. As you know, we have gone. It's been a crazy week. I ended up with E. coli and in the hospital from trying to get standing water in our kitchen to resolve itself, and so and fixing the garbage disposal because we had no electricity in the back half of the house. And in trying to fix that, I cut myself. I exposed myself to E. coli and salmonella, and really became very sick. Then they started working on the electricity, and as often happens when you work with electricity, one thing leads to another, and the first electrical issue led to some others. So it's been extremely, like 90 degrees here in the house up until about a half an hour ago. So I was not putting any more clothes on than I had, so a t-shirt was going to be it, and just be glad that I don't have to stand up at any point in this presentation. If the house catches fire and you see me start to stand up, close your laptops. That's all I'm going to say. So let's go ahead and get started. This week is going to be, this week and next week will be very fundamental weeks for those who are part of the program, who are involved in the sales process, who are involved in customer service, and who are involved in communications. And the reason for that is this is going to be specifically focused on an entrepreneurial shift that will teach you how to sell more effectively. This is new curriculum that's been added to the regular curriculum. We've had people who've been writing questions as members who are participating, asking questions as we go along, and I've had a chance to spend some one-on-one time with everybody and recognize where some of the biggest needs were for them. And the question arises all the time. Well, John Michael, I just don't understand. I'm trying what you're doing, and I'm starting to see increased sales. I'm starting to see new enrollments. I'm starting to see benefits in my relationships. But I just want to know how to do it as simply as you do. And I want to know how to, why do sales come so easily for you? And I promise you, it's not because I'm a great salesman. It's because I gave up trying to be a salesman. And these are, so I stopped to look at my notes that I've kept over the last 35 years and my journals I've kept over the last 35 years as I started to pack some of these things away for our move in September. And this one giant chapter of my training really stood out to me. And I said, I never thought about putting that in the mind shift because they're kind of bigger chunks than our daily mind shifts happen to be. But I'm going to make an attempt, and this is going to be sort of experimental, but I think over the next 2 weeks, I can take some of these fundamentals and break them into daily workable pieces that can make a tremendous impact in your life. And so today we're going to get started. We're going to be talking about increasing your probability for success. And, we talk about, the marketplace and the internet itself, making selling more and more difficult, bringing more challenges to the marketplace, and making it a little more challenging for us to find ways to get that customer to yes. And the first thing we have to look at today is that eliminating the risk that people are going to run to their phones and say, no, I'm not available, no, no, I'm not interested, no, I don't want your product. You have to understand what it is that you're actually selling, because if you don't understand that, then you might be communicating something completely different when you get on the phone or when you talk to somebody by email or instant messenger. You see, most people think that they're selling products. And the simple fact is that if you're involved in a network marketing company or if you're involved in a direct selling company, you're never going to succeed if your focus is trying to sell your company's products. And the reason for that is easy. Every network marketing company in history, now I'm not dogging any companies, I'm not bad-mouthing them, I'm not dogging the industry by any means. But by virtue of the way that network marketing works, the concept of bringing your product to the marketplace and then selling it so that 3 or 4 or 5 or 7 or 10 generations of entrepreneurs are getting paid a commission means that your product, whether you like it or not, is 3 to 5 times or sometimes 7 times higher than the product is actually worth. And that's that's simple math. And if you don't believe me, don't go away mad. Go away and try and prove me wrong. That $60 miracle skin cream that somebody might be selling, you can get it at a department store for $30. You can get it online for $20 with the same ingredients. In fact, I used to get crazy because I tried to help a friend of mine who was a top producer in a skincare company, and as soon as her company would come out with the next great skin cream and talk about the phenomenal ingredients, and they'd have conventions and regional rallies and things like that, talking about how this anti-aging product was miraculous and it would do fantastic jobs on the customers. I would use them and do before and afters. We'd see fantastic results. 6 weeks later, there was a commercial on the television at 8 or 9 o'clock at night from L'Oreal or Neutrogena or Clinique or one of those major companies touting the exact same ingredients, only calling it something different. So it wasn't miracle liposomes, it was liposome magic or something like that. And the product, of course, would sell for $20 compared to $60 from the network marketing company. The super acai berry drinks that became so popular, and wolfberry, goji berry, all of these things, it became so popular at $40 a bottle. And network marketers went out there and did the education. We taught the public what those ingredients did. We got on Oprah and all of these other shows and talked about how antioxidant superfruits could really help to change things like fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, neck pain, sleep disorders, whatever it happened to be. And then 4 years later, those same exact ingredients are $7 or less at the grocery store, and entire companies like MonaV went out of business. They didn't go out of business because they were poorly managed. They went out of business because they were selling a product that was 7 times more expensive than the local store. That $25 fat wrap, you can buy it for $10 at GNC. You can buy it for $6 on eBay. So see, network marketing products are not properly priced. They're obscenely priced. Now, there's a reason for that, and in addition to the obvious that sometimes greed comes into play, 98% of all companies don't manufacture their own products, even when they lie to you and tell you that they do. When we had a salon and spa business, people used to come in and they used to sell us this bottle and that bottle of Sebastian and Fromisi and this and that, and tell us how fantastic the products are. Well, I knew as a product manufacturer that there were only 6 companies in the entire country who were manufacturing skincare, hair care, and personal care products. And put that in your notes. There are 6 companies in the entire United States to this day who manufacture every one of the skincare, personal care, hair care products in the world. Now, only 5 of them make those for the general public because the 6th company is Melaleuca, and they only make products for themselves. The simple fact is that if you're having to private label a product, that adds price. Then you add compensation plans, that adds another 400 to 600% to the price. And then if you don't have great leadership, which so many of these companies do have, but people who aren't great leadership aren't skilled enough to operate a company on a 5% bottom line commission, because a company's lucky to make 5% when they've had to overinflate and overinflate and overinflate. At some point, you price yourself right out of the market. So the margins that those companies operate on are very tiny. And if you're not operating efficiently, you can't get by on 5% bottom line. So that's why I tell you, don't make sure that you understand what you're selling. Because if you think that you're selling something like a product, whatever your product is that you happen to have an emotional attachment to, you're absolutely wrong, and you're not going to be successful. But when you understand that unless you're selling commodity products, unless you're selling products that are at the lowest price that beat grocery store prices, like Melaleuca does, then don't focus on the fact that you're selling product. What you're selling is service. What you're selling is you're bringing value. We've talked about it since this program began. You focus on selling value, solutions that enable people to save money, solutions that enable people to make money, solutions that enable people to address particular needs that they have. Because people don't buy products, people buy results. And so it doesn't matter that you're not selling products. You know, like I asked you guys to stick with me on this because it doesn't matter that you're not selling a product. It doesn't matter that your products are overpriced. It doesn't matter that you can't, if you can't compete in the grocery store if what you're selling is value, because the grocery store isn't selling value. The grocery store is selling products. They're mass selling products. So it might be possible that you have a product that is being sold at prices that beat the grocery store. If that's the case, fantastic for you. Then you can sell product if you want, but I would still recommend at the end of the day that you focus on selling value. I promise you I'm not distracted. My screen just started, I have two screens here, and one of them just started doing crazy things, and I want to make sure that doesn't interfere with our video feed. A salesperson is in any first meeting with somebody is going to be held at arm's length away. And the reason for that is your prospect thinks you're going to try and do something to them. He's going to try and take my money. She's going to try and get me to switch products and give up something I love. You have to bring that relationship to a point of knowing, liking, and trusting you. And that's going to happen, as we said so many times, in the next 2 weeks. We talked about at the end, our last session, we talked about knowing the right questions. Well, in the next 2 weeks, we're going to talk about questions every single day. We're going to talk about how the rules of engagement have changed. That it's no longer, if you buy a sales book, and there's some fantastic sales books out there, written by some of the greats, the giants in the sales industry, people like Joe Girard, who wrote a fantastic, I can't remember the name of the book, but it was one of my first sales books I read. But if you try to use his techniques today, you're going to fail. You're going to fall flat on your ass, even if you're trying to sell used cars like he was. And the reason for that is the rules of engagement have changed. The way that we penetrate a market has changed, and it's changed because people are more connected than ever before. And so, giving yourself an opportunity to increase the probability of success is going to require that you make some pretty consistent changes, but they're not just going to be the small little changes like Mindshift changes, mindset changes. What I'm integrating into the Mindshift program during these 2 weeks is going to be mindset plus specific action. And that's been the key since we got started. That you take the mind shift of that day and you act upon it. But now we're going to be giving you a specific action, an action that's scientifically designed and proven to give you some results in the marketplace. If you I want you to, I've got a little script here to give you an idea of how this shift could affect your life. There's a voicemail script, and probably every network marketer, every caller has learned how to leave professional sounding messages. Every company gives you a script to use, and they tell you that the idea is to get to the decision maker in the house, so here's a voicemail script that a typical salesperson could leave. Hi, Susie. My name is John Michael Salado, and I'm a senior sales representative with Continental Marketing Systems, and we're the leading provider of productivity systems. And I wanted to take a couple minutes of your time to discuss how our family of products could positively impact your family's business. Your convenience, please give me a call back at blah, 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 blah. That sounds pretty good, and if it were the only voicemail message on your prospect's machine, maybe you would get 4 or 5 seconds worth of attention for that business. But key decision makers are always being hit with the same kind of calls. So what if, now we take this into the network marketing field and you say, hi, this is Susie. I'm with, Super Skinny Wrap. We're having a party. I want to invite you to the party and give you a chance to get a free wrap or a $25 wrap or whatever the story might be. But what if Susie has already gotten 3 invitations that month for the exact same thing? Now you're competing with 3 other people, or two other people, 3 other people. So the way that we create that change, it's not about one person doing it the right way, one person doing it the wrong way. That original approach isn't a wrong approach. It just doesn't position you to increase your probabilities for success. I don't know how I keep hitting this button. Probably every time I change the page in my notebook, I'm hitting this button. Or there's a button I don't know about. All right. So this is based on understanding the laws of cause and effect. And so everything we do from today forward for the next 2 weeks is going to build on that. But I want to make sure that you guys have, kind of get the basis first, because today is the most difficult of the days, because today I had to point out, for most of you, you already understand this, but for some people, when you tell them that their product is obscenely overpriced, they get a little bit defensive. They get a little bit hostile, because they don't want to think that they chose the wrong product. So let's say right up front, you didn't choose the wrong company or the wrong product. It doesn't matter that your product is obscenely overpriced, and you might be selling one of those products that I used as an example, and that's even better, because what you need to understand is you make choices based on needs that you had. So we rewind the clock, and let's say you're involved in a Super Skinny Wrap product. All right, your reason for getting involved was probably because you wanted to get rid of some weight. So you were looking for a solution. You bought a solution, and if that solution didn't work, you wouldn't be still working with that product. So it doesn't matter whether or not, in my opinion, as somebody who doesn't need that product, that I think you're being obscenely overcharged, because you weren't interested in my opinion, you weren't interested in buying the product to please me. You were interested in getting results. And you got the results, and you decided, hey, I'd like to share this with other people. So let's just understand, it may be true that your products are obscenely overpriced. That's the nature of network marketing. So don't feel like you're a lone soldier, on a field who's just been exposed for having overpriced products, because you're in an industry that is filled with overpriced products. I can't think of a single network marketing company out there today that's not obscenely overpriced. That's why I don't work in network marketing myself. But you do, so let's make what you do work for you. And that just requires, first of all, letting go of, I think one of the things you have to do is forgive yourself for the fact that you're selling overpriced products. And let's be honest and let's be real. We all know that that's the truth, and we all know that that's the case, and we just have to say, that's all right. The market's paying for it. There's lots of overpriced products out there. Jaguar and Lexus, come to mind. I'm sure their car salesmen don't feel guilty about selling an overpriced product. So understand that first. The second thing you need to understand is that the metrics for measuring progress in life are ones where we look at probability and we look at risk. And that's what we're going to be starting to talk about tomorrow. We're going to start talking about how this works in real life. And the risk of rejection is probably the greatest challenge that salespeople fear. But for the consumer, the risk of losing their money is the great risk that they fear. So the greater the risk, the more reluctant salespeople are to pick up the phone or make a contact. And so what I'm going to do this week is I'm going to begin by showing you ways to eliminate the risk. And I'm going to tell you that when you start to apply some of these principles, incredible, just beyond incredible things start to unfold in your life. And to meet that out, I was doing my homework for today's presentation and talking with some industry leaders because I wanted to get a pulse on some of the things that were available and going on. And as a result of those conversations, I had one conversation last night. It was almost the end of my day. And this person said to me, I love what you're teaching, and I love the approach you're telling your people to take for your business, for your Melaleuca business. And I can see why your business is such a fast-growing business. And I thanked him and thought that he was going to say he wanted to come on board and switch industries. And he said, the reason I'm telling you is that we have a service that we offer that is based on your technique. And we've been doing this now for quite a while. And let me tell you what's been happening. One of your friends who told us about you has been using your strategy, your technique. It's one of my former students, and they're enrolling 1 to 3 new people every single day, 4 days a week. And but they're doing it in a way that takes even less time than the technique you're teaching, and they're doing it in a way that allows us to help them leverage technology that we build to guarantee that they're going to have 3 people to talk to every single day. And I said, wait, you're talking about you're going to make calls for them? And he said, no. I'm telling you that we're going to make sure that they're on the phone with 3 interested individuals every single day, and 3 or 4 days a week. Would that help them? Would that help your business? Well, yeah. Let's think about that. If you had 9 to 12 people on a weekly basis who were interested in finding out more about what you're doing, wouldn't that help you get more customers? Wouldn't that be a time saver for you? So what we did was in our case, we looked for what the greatest risk was, and I haven't seen another company that you could build a $500, $600, $700 a month income by just making 5 calls a day, and that was about as simple as I thought I could make it. Now I can make it even simpler because our folks will still make the 5 calls a day, but they're going to know that even on the slow days, they're going to get a minimum of 3 people to talk to. On the good days, they may have 5 or 6. So when you start to apply these principles, we go back to the original mind shift, is that you're opening yourself, you're opening your mind, your prefrontal cortex begins to create the solutions and attract to you in what attraction marketing really is, start to attract solutions into your experience so that things are going to open up to you that you've never considered before. As a result of that conversation last night, I made a decision and said, you know what? One of the things I'm most passionate about, because the guy was pushing my triggers talking about my passions, and I love what I do in my primary business. But my biggest passion is what we're doing right now. And what we're doing right now is the mind shift part of that. But we talked before about my work as a peak performance coach covers this 6 dimensions of wellness, the 6 dimensions of wholeness. And one of the areas that I hardly ever get to talk about is finance, and looking at what's going on in this world all around us, the craziness of the political climate, the uncertainty of the economies around the world, whether the dollar is going to survive. And some of one of the ways that I make money is working in binary trading, and I do some binary trading every single day, and I'm seeing some really volatile currencies out there that are making us money. That's fantastic, but but the difficult thing is on the other side of that, when the British pound becomes very weak, that's hurting the people in Great Britain to have such a weak currency, and that's coming from the U.S. dollar and the Canadian dollar as well. So I said, John Michael, there's got to be a way that we can integrate all of this stuff, the mind shift, as well as the financial shift, as well as the health shift. And so I really got to work on me over this past week while I was sick and put together what's the next step for John Michael, how I'm going to spend more time educating people, more time coaching people, more time giving back. And so when we do these sort of things, we remove the obstacles. Those obstacles open the mind to greater productivity. So I apologize that this was almost 30 minutes of introduction to this content, but we're talking about taking 6 journals full of information that I gained from mostly from Jim Rohn, but from Jim Rohn and Larry Thompson, and sharing them with you guys in a 2-week period of time. So it's a huge undertaking. But you know, if you guys can stick it out with me a little bit longer on than our 20, 30 minutes each day, we'll certainly make it worth it for you. So, you know, I'm going to hear from you now. On, you know, as you're listening to the call, what are some of the things that you're thinking about as we start to talk about removing obstacles, recognizing that if you try to focus on selling products, and I know Ethan talked about this a little bit, you know, last week, that when you stop focusing on trying to sell your product, or as Amparo Tipo says, when you stop trying to look for customers for your product and try to find products for your customers, things really begin to shift. So give me some feedback, guys. What are some of your thoughts? What are some of your feelings as we move into this realm? Be sure to unmute yourself before you talk. Tommy, you're unmuted. I'm not hearing anything from anyone. Ita, I saw you unmuted. Hello? I'm not muted, am I? No. Did I put everybody to sleep?
Well, one of my biggest takeaways from your presentation today is that the word that really comes to mind for me is that of intentionality. And, you know, something that's especially speaks to me in terms of my experience. You know, I've worked in the holistic health market for the better part of the last decade, and more recently, in the past 2 years, I've worked in the capacity of customer service. And something I really appreciated from your presentation today is kind of this integration of sales and customer service, and bringing these things together in a wholesome, coherent way. And when I say that, I'm talking about, you know, one of the things you were discussing is shifting this emphasis from selling a product to actually building a relationship with an individual to bring the product to the consumer. In other words, we're on the path of service. Even in holistic health or sales, it's about alleviating suffering for the consumer, or bringing greater abundance and health for the consumer, as opposed to simply focusing on material gains. And that's something that's especially meaningful for me, because that's what brought me to the holistic healthcare market. That's why I've pursued a degree in psychology and have my bachelor's degree in psychology, because I want to, you know, at the best of my ability, at the end of the day, I want to do what I can to alleviate suffering and, you know, give people, you know, empower people with skills and coping mechanisms so that they can better engage in their life, be that generally in the everyday experience of the human journey, or be that in sales and the service of sales, shall we say.
Excellent. You said it very well, my brother. And, you know, that's a great example of that. Somebody said to me last week one day, someone said, what do you recommend for somebody now that you're not with XYZ company? When you get somebody who comes to you with cancer and you need to alkalize their body, you need to alkalize their body fast, what are you selling them now that you don't have a greens product? And I said, I'm selling them a greens product is what I'm selling them. I'm telling them, get your butt down to GNC, and they have 2 different green products on the shelf. One of them is organic and non-GMO. The other is just non-GMO. Get the one that's organic and non-GMO. Here's the name. Here's the size. These are the flavors it comes in. Get that product into your body. And they said, but why wouldn't you sell them something from your company? And I said, because something in my company isn't a green product. My solution is to, as you said, to alleviate suffering. My solution is to find a solution for that person's cause of suffering, cause of degeneration, cause of malfunction or imbalance in their body. And I know that the fastest way to do that, so that all of my products are going to work better, is to get their body back at an alkaline state. And so I say, just go to Rite Aid or go to GNC itself. Go to the GNC aisle, pick up this product and start taking it right away. Diana can tell you I did the same thing with her with one of our initial consultations. So it really does require one of those sort of starting from a place of wholesome intentionality, and to use a phrase that I don't particularly fancy, because it's not part of my vernacular. But I'll borrow it from the Fundy McNuggets. You have to step out in faith. You have to say, if the universe is supporting me, if the divine spark of creative intelligence is expressing itself in me, through me, and all around me, then why do I have to worry about whether the products that I share with somebody, the solutions that I share with somebody, the information I share with somebody is going to profit me directly or not? Because it's all going to profit me, because there isn't a difference between me and you. We're in this together, and when I make you better, I become better. That's ultimately, for years when Jim Rohn would say, for things to change, you got to change. For things to get better, you got to get better. I thought that meant, for things to change, first you have to change, and then things will start to change. And then there was a point in time about 5 years ago when I woke up and said, holy shit, this man was not just a business mensch, he was a spiritual mensch. He was telling me, for things to change, you got to change, because if you don't change, nothing changes. And the moment that you change, everything changes. So for things to get better, you got to get better. And that means that if I am one with you, I can't sit here and say namaste and say that the sacred in me bows to the sacred in you, and then pretend like the sacred in me is different from the sacred in you. So I have to say, you know what? I love you. I want you to be whole. Yesterday I had to deal with an unfortunate situation of somebody who just went batshit crazy on me because they don't have coping skills and aren't getting psychiatric treatment for a mental illness. And that person, created all kinds of chaos and all kinds of nonsense and all kinds of drama and crybaby bullshit and temper tantrums and spoiled little princess syndrome. And on one hand, I could have just gotten furious with them and said, screw them, they're a nutcase, not my circus, not my monkeys. But then I had to come to a point and say, you know what? They're reflecting some circus and some monkeys that I haven't let go of. They're giving me an opportunity to forgive the times that I was the drama queen, that I was the temperamental little princess, that I just wanted to stay stuck in my pity party table for one. And so I had to say, okay, let's let go of that. Let's forgive that, because this is a time of tremendous opportunity. It was the new moon. It's time to let go of that shit and welcome in that which is new and abundant and fresh. And so I said, I'm just going to do that. I'm going to let go of those things. And so I reached out to that person and said, I just want you to know, I heard all of the mean-spirited, hateful, judgmental things that you said. And I let them go, because I'm sure there have been times I've judged myself the same way. I'm sure there have been times you judged yourself the same way. But what would happen if we just let go of them and forgave ourselves of those things and said, you know what? Right now, John Michael has the skills to take who and what I want to become to the next level, and he's willing to be there for me and generously give that to me. And I don't have to like him for it. I don't even have to thank him for it. I don't have to want to talk to him beyond the scope of what he can do to help me. But if I let him help me, maybe I can just be free. Maybe this drama, maybe this pain, maybe this, oh, you ruined my weekend, and all this other crybaby 10-year-old high school bullshit could become unimportant. Maybe some incredible things could start to happen, and in the happening, John Michael knows that the relationship begins to heal, because we've eliminated the source of suffering, because it's never what it seems to be. That drama and temper tantrum and schoolgirl nonsense wasn't about what yesterday appeared to be about. It was about brokenness. It was about not feeling safe. It was about being unsure of oneself, and then throwing up every roadblock that they possibly could, finding any excuse to not take action on that exciting new chapter of their lives that's waiting for them. And P.S. This wasn't somebody who's getting involved in my business. It's not somebody who would ever be invited to be involved in my business. But where they want to go, where their skill set's going to take them, is going to be phenomenal for that person. They don't watch this program, so they'll never hear these words, but we can know as a community that where that person is going to be fucking amazing because they're an incredible person. You know, a little bit of a drama queen right now, extremely immature, extremely in need of psychiatric treatment, but underneath it all, they are an amazing, amazing individual with tremendous skills and a passion for helping other people. So their next step is probably scary, and that's good, because if the things that you're about to undertake don't excite you a lot and scare you a little, then you shouldn't waste your time trying to approach those things. You know, we're getting ready to move, moving up, upscale, more money, greater surroundings, and doing that at a time when we're just beginning to rebuild everything in our lives is very exciting. You know, it's super exciting because it's going to put us close to Craig's campus, but it's also a little bit scary. And so last night at 3 o'clock in the morning, we laid there and turned to one another and said, well, this is kind of scary. What about if we do this? What about if we do that? And I even said, our third option is we just stay here and do nothing. And I said, let's sit with that for a minute. And we sat with that for a minute, and Craig got a grin on his face, and he said, I know you didn't mean that. And I said, no. I wasn't trying to manipulate you, but that really was an option that we have. And I wanted you and me in that moment to feel how shitty that option felt. Because if we don't look at all of our options, then those other options that we didn't look at remain in the background. And they could dig it, they can gnaw at us. But let's just look at that option and let's just name it right now and say, ooh, no effing way. And so we did. And we said together, ooh, no effing way. We would never stay here. And I said, okay, so let's look at this other option. And we talked about the other option that existed. And I said, what are the things that excite you about that? What's attracting you to that option? And we talked about what attracted us to that option. For him, it was an even bigger house for the same amount of money. It was, having land, going to be able to have a dog. For me, it was this amazing front porch that I could picture myself working on almost all year round. And it was the location was a little bit more metropolitan, and we said, okay, so how does that feel? What can we call that sense that we have about this place? And so we gave that a name, and then we talked about the option that we will be going with, and we talked about that, and we talked about what was scary about that, and what was scary about that was this will be the first time that we actually have a home that doesn't have a porch and that doesn't have a back porch or balcony, and our concern was, wow, that could mean that people are walking right in to our home, from outside, and they're bringing that outside energy inside, and we didn't like that. And so I said, okay, so let's take a minute now, because we're obviously not going back to sleep. He had to be up at 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't know how he does it. I said, let's look at those two options. And so I said, let's sit in the living room. Let's not continue this in bed, because this energy in the bedroom needs to return back down to quiet. And so we gave one another a hug, and we came in the living room. And I'm sharing this story with you because I want you to see this process that you can apply in your lives. And we opened up our laptops, and I said, let's look at that first place. And I'm telling you, I swear this wasn't there when we were looking at it earlier, because it would have been a glaring issue for us. But we opened it up, and I noticed there were two front doors on the gorgeous place with the porch. And so I started scrolling down, and I saw a link to the real estate page, and I went to the realtor's page, and that gorgeous house was not a house for sale. It was half of a house for sale. It was converted into a duplex. So it was half the square footage that we thought. The porch itself was shared. the basement was shared, the laundry facilities were shared, and because they were in the basement, and all of a sudden and the yard was shared, and all of a sudden the idea of that big gorgeous house wasn't so gorgeous anymore, and so the energy level there went down a few notches, and I said, how's that feel, to you? And then we realized it was oil heat. We really like to stay away from oil and use natural gas. And he said, oh, yeah, that's not so good. I said, well, let's take a look at this other one, because we may be starting from scratch here. And we went to the other one, and I said, let's make a phone call in the morning and find out what's available. And I called and said, hey, we're going to be dropping off our stuff, our paperwork on Thursday morning. Can you tell me a little bit about the units that are available? And she said, well, the unit that's available in September is upstairs. It's a second floor unit. And I said, so how does one get to the second floor? Because I didn't really notice. Is it, like an outside stairway? She said, no, you come into the building and you go up the stairs, and they're carpeted stairs. And she said, then you turn and go into the apartment. And I said, oh, so a person is walking up a stairwell from the inside foyer, and they're turning left or right to get to your apartment. She said, yes. And I said, that makes a big difference. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on Thursday. So now that yuckiness of bringing the outside dirt, the outside energy, and everything else in suddenly changes. We now have some space in which to put plants outside the door, in which to feng shui and do all of the other things that we do to make sure that that our food dogs and everything else are sitting at the entry to our home and making that place our sacred space, and making it so that people would take their shoes off and leave them in the hall and all of that. So that's what I want you guys to understand. In the sales process, you get that same opportunity to do those same things. But you could never do that if you didn't get to know that prospect. And people like Diana, people like Tommy can tell you that our relationship, our journeys together in the selling field weren't something that we started off with, and they're not even something that's a priority. If we find a business project to jump into together and move forward, fantastic. I would love that, because I would love to see them prosper at the level that I have. But we're still in the process of discovering that. But what has been a constant has been the relationship. And it's been the relationship through the good times, and it's been the relationship through the bad times. It's been the relationship through the tough and through the joyful. And it's been because we connected as people. And so my commitment and their commitment, heart to heart, is there. And when the time came that an opportunity, that there was synergy there, came, fantastic, and we're thrilled for that. In a similar way, Ita and Jennifer have just started to look at the new social networking platform, because they're not looking for a business opportunity at all. So they're not looking for an opportunity to work with me in this industry, but I have an opportunity to help them build their business without being involved with their companies, because their companies wouldn't be a good fit for me. They don't fit my criteria. Well, that doesn't mean I don't want to help them. And now I have an opportunity with what we're doing with social networking and this new social networking platform. So guys, take that information, read the blog post, if you will, and get ready, because tomorrow we really dig in with strategies and tactics. And I understand that over the next 2 weeks, it's going to be less about how you feel about what we're saying, and these sections of questions and answers are going to really be questions and answers. And you might not feel during the show that you can figure your question out exactly, so just post it on the blog. I'll make sure that I give as an in-depth an answer there as I possibly can. I appreciate you guys being with us for 45 minutes today. I will look forward to being with you tomorrow at 1:30. I will see Tommy tonight at 7:30, and I will see Diana at 11:30 on Friday. So I love and appreciate each and every one of you. I'm excited about this material. I am really thrilled to be able to stay out of the bathroom for at least today. We're going on 2.5 hours at a time. So I'd say the E. coli is on its way out of my system. And I'll look forward to things improving every step of the way this week. In every way, and hopefully having some good news to share with you about the drama situation that we went through yesterday. That hopefully this electricity and everything else is behind us, and we seem to have a better internet connection than we've had. So, guys, stay in the moment and be grateful for what you got. Remember, the best is yet to come, and remember, you're the one holding the pen that's writing the story of the rest of your life. Namaste.